Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko with you, along with Tariq Spence, as usual. How you doing, man?
I'm a little bit worried about the Bills, but I think we'll talk about that later, Bill.
Yes, we will. And Carl Falk, man, it's been a long time since I've seen you, Carl.
Long time no see, Bill.
You've been a regular on this show, and
yeah.
But you and I have not been putting it together.
I thought for a while you wouldn't work with me or something. I thought our agents had to, I thought there was something there. I'm glad we cleared the air.
And it's good that, they said, are you and Carl the same person? So.
I don't have the hair. I'm jealous of the hair.
So look, I've got you guys together, kind of plugged into the high school scene. We're approaching the end of the first season of the semi-post-COVID era here. How are we doing?
Successfully. I mean, the crowds were great. The kids were great. They got a chance to play. I know they got robbed sort of last year. They had that sort of spring season to sort of come back from that, which I kind of like too. I kind of like the fact that they played a little spring ball, something where maybe they do some 7-on-7s or 8-on-8s where kids are not going to be colliding that much, and they get ready for the fall season, give them a chance to get to their workout and program during the off season and play. But I mean, you still got your Aquinas', you still got your McQuaid's, you still have your Canandaiguas. UPrep played extremely well this year. Brighton played extremely well this year. So it was a great opportunity to see that back to somewhat normal. We're not all the way there yet, but at least they got a chance to play.
Back when I was like knee deep in the high school stuff with the high school sports beat, and I'm seeing Brighton play UPrep in a championship game. It's like, wow, what happened?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that Brighton had beaten UPrep during the regular season, and then UPrep really put it on them, and now UPrep and Canandaigua play this week. Game plug, if I may, be on Spectrum TV this week. I'll be calling that game. And it was cool doing that for Spectrum this year, and what you said, Tariq, about going to the games in the normalcy. To see the kids, the student sections, all wearing the same colors, painting their faces, having a good time. It was just so refreshing after everything that we've been through. And for me, somebody who's played sports my whole life, to think of the kids down there, they're not being robbed of that last run. Yeah. Most athletes have a stop date on their participation in official sports, and it's at the end of high school. So for them to not get robbed of that and get an opportunity and to be able to play in front of their parents and families is great.
I think it was interesting about what you said. Before, all these years you would hear coaches say, you're not going to get these opportunities again. You're not going to get a chance to play again. And maybe it doesn't hit a player at that time because we've never gone through anything like COVID before. But then I think this year, the fact that, maybe there was a sophomore that missed out on what they would traditionally call their junior year or senior, unfortunately missing out on their senior year, you get to understand why coaches feel that way, why they feel as if this is it. This is your junior year. This is your senior year. It means this much. You're not going to play these games again. And I think the fact that they played so passionately, okay, it wasn't all the players, it wasn't everybody from City, but you got a chance to see what these coaches have been talking about for years. This is an opportunity to play high school football. You might not go to college. You might have the most fun right here. Enjoy it.
It is fun, and it's part of growing up and the lessons. And I still remember a crushing loss from high school football, and it's not a few years ago now, but I still remember the emotion of that and the things that you overcome. And that's the reality of what sports are about when you're growing up. Not that you made a good play, the lessons you learned, whether winning or losing.
You get the feeling talking to these guys that having had 2020 taken away from them, it makes the guys who have come back appreciate this a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think the coaches, to an extent, have a little bit different perspective. They didn't have their off-season programs. And I remember talking to one coach before a game, and his quarterback had to fill in because the other quarterback got hurt. They moved this kid from wide receiver. Well, there was no off-season program. The kid literally had never taken a snap in a game at quarterback before the game before when he had to come in because their quarterback got hurt.
I think this shows what you were talking about before, and I'll get to this in unfinished business when it comes to adversity. Some things are out of your hands. Some things you have to adjust to.
That's life.
One of the teams that I'll be talking about in unfinished business basically has to make adjustments week to week. That's life. That's the way we live every single day. The way we live through COVID, the way we live past COVID, the way we continue to move on. So I think those teaching lessons, even though it was a loss or if it was a win, you remember them forever, and it kind of defines you going forward to understand you're going to face adversity in the near future.
I said we're just about done with the segment, but I wanted to get in a word about this whole 8-on-8 thing that you get to call. You're going to call your first 8-on-8.
My first eight-man football game, and I'm real excited about it because I haven't frankly seen it. And it's almost like arena football, but played on a full-size field. So there's going to be a ton of offense, and either positively or negatively, I'll let you decide. that may be the way things are going. You're seeing so many districts, the participation in all sports is down. Football more so probably because of the fear of injury. So a lot of districts are either combining teams or going 8-man football. So
We're doing both.
yeah, could very well be both.
We are the Rochester Press Box talking Buffalo Bills next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay & Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Thanks for joining us and welcome back here to the Rochester Press Box, our Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Ralph Honda. For 3 generations is celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right, ralphhonda.com. Well, we talked Buffalo Bills. It was an atrocious game against Jacksonville. Let's not spend too much time on it. But are there semi-permanent concerns about what happened down there?
Yeah, because I think what has been exposed, not just was exposed, but has been exposed all year, the Bills have a weakness in the interior of their offensive line. It's been exacerbated by injury. But, Cody Ford started that game. Cody Ford started the season at guard. So it's not like, well, we had to pick somebody up. He didn't know the play. No, that guy was drafted to play that position, and they force-fed him into that position. The other interesting part to me, Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane have been miraculous almost since they've come in here. They have literally faced zero criticism in their approach to team building or the execution on the field. After that game, there was criticism of the team on the field and the preparation, and it extends to Brian Daboll. So how do they handle their first bit of adversity as an organization since literally Rex Ryan walked out the door?
This is a very big concern for the Buffalo Bills. This is a slice of humble pie. And the reason why I say that is because the expectations were so high at the beginning of the season. I thought AFC Championship game, if not Super Bowl. This is not 1 step back, this is 2. I'm really concerned about the consistency on offense. The fact that the Jaguars, basically a team that hadn't won in their own stadium in the last year or so, was able to shut them down defensively. Okay, they schemed very well, offensive line, I get it, I get all those things. But they weren't able to score. This is a scoring team. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they were not able to put up any, if you would have told me going into that game that Jacksonville would only have 9 points, I'd be like, well, I'm sure the Bills covered. They didn't. And so this concerns me a little bit, especially off the bye. They didn't look great half that game in Miami, and they looked terrible against Jacksonville. I don't know if it's the state of Florida or whatever. I'm not sure what it is.
And then one thing I think is concerning was that there was a member, I don't know who he was, and I should have looked it up, but it was Jacksonville Jaguars said that the Bills bench didn't appear to care about this game. Now, there's 2 ways to look at this. You can think, well, that's kind of good news. It kind of mailed it in, which means there aren't lasting concerns. And on the other hand, man, this can't become chronic. It's tougher this year on this team because the expectation level is so much greater than it was last year.
They're the hunted now, not the hunter. And that's a totally different mindset. And when you go in as the hunted, you're getting that other team's best game. In Jacksonville, they played a heck of a game on Sunday. But the Bills and Sean McDermott has to work around that. He's got to be able to challenge his team. You think of that New England team for decades, right? They literally were favored every week. Yet every week, basically, they came to play. There were a few stinkers, but Sean McDermott, this is a new challenge for him. He's got to figure out a way to meet it, and he's got to be able to do it this Sunday.
And the Jets are not done. Don't sleep on the Jets. Jets have Mike White. They have this whole feeling as if there's this guy.
Mike White
from telling you, they believe in Mike White. I don't know how.
What, 1 series?
And he did, and he was out.
He threw a touchdown pass in that series.
He did, and they wish that he had come back. But it's interesting, like the Jets are renewed. They feel as if they can win. And don't look past the Patriots. Look how close they are.
You can't start talking about the Patriots
with the
yet.
ghosts of the Patriots. You haven't buried it yet. You still have to pay attention to them. They're 1 game behind in that division. So you were expected to run away. I thought 13-3. You better watch out for the teams that are hunting.
To your point, to your point about the Patriots.
Yeah.
I hate even saying this because people are going to say you're comparing Mac Jones to Brady. I'm not.
No.
I'm comparing what they did with Brady back when to what they're doing with Mac Jones. They started this much of the playbook. And as the season went on, they expanded it. They're doing the same with Mac Jones, giving him a little bit more each week, and he's getting better and better and better.
You're falling into the trap. Looking ahead, this is what we don't want the team to do, and you guys are always already talking Patriots.
Long term.
13.5 is the line. Who you got?
I got the Bills. I do. And the one name that really scares me is Kennan Williams for the Jets. He's a heck of a defensive lineman. In spite of the fact the Bills have a ton of first-round picks, the best defensive lineman on the field is Kennan Williams. He could wreck things in Tariq, but I think there's a bounce back coming.
Yeah,
I feel the same thing. I think Josh Allen, he took that really on the chin from Josh Allen in that defense in Jacksonville. I think he's going to come back. They're going to play well. The Bills did play down the competition last week. I don't think they'll do that this week.
All right, again, 13.5. It's the Bills at the Jets this weekend. This is the Rochester Press Box. This segment brought to you by Ralph Honda. Like it or not, it's next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falkin Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. This segment, like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law, attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Law today. Like it or not, Tariq, as much as we can say without piling on, the whole Aaron Rodgers situation with the Green Bay Packers.
All right, so it took about a week. It started with him being upset with the information coming out. Then it went to quoting Martin Luther King Jr., which I would have never done. Then it went to Jesus, and then it went to the apology. So it was like a 7-day sort of cycle of all of this stuff. I don't like it. The only reason why is because he basically said he was immunized earlier, and he wasn't, and posed as if he was immunized. And that
Not vaccinated, immunized.
I guess mincing words, but he gave a layer of protection that wasn't there. And that was what he had to sort of deal with. So I'm sort of through with Aaron Rodgers. He does these little things that kind of makes himself try to look cool. If he had just taken his stance and been not vaccinated and told people, he would have gotten just as much
support. The league gave him a pass. I mean, the fine there, what was it, $15,000, and the team got $300,000. They're clearly blaming the Green Bay Packers for
But
this.
they need the star power. You know he's going to come back. He's probably going to play. Give this 2 weeks, it'll be all over with.
All right. Like it or not, the refereeing in the NFL, which was kind of spotlighted on the Monday night game when the Bears just absolutely got hosed at Pittsburgh.
That was a culmination of a real bad weekend. If you'd watched the Bills game, one of the first calls of the game, they called it, announced it on a Jacksonville player, and then got back together. Oh, no, it was on the Bills player. And, there's a lot of things going on in the NFL with officiating and more communication from the league in the referee's ear during the game. In my opinion, more replay equals less certainty for an official, and I think that's what we're seeing. The league is in your ear. They're less assertive with their calls, and we're seeing more and more bad calls. And that Monday night game with Pittsburgh was terrible.
I've always thought that to see all these challenges and all these plays that are flipped and games outcomes that are changing. And my first thought is like, man, we lived for years with who knows who won these games before replay. But to your point, I think, weren't they getting them right, you think, without the safety net of replay? Were they doing a better job?
I'll actually use a baseball analogy to answer that. For 100 years, baseball, we didn't care if a guy was this much off the base when somebody had a glove on them. It was just part of the game. And if you missed it, you missed it. Now, we overturn calls after 3 minutes because of a guy being that much off a base. Is that what we're going to worry about, or do we want to get the big things right? And we're so concerned about the small things, we're missing a lot of big things.
And everyone's getting bigger and faster, and it's just...
It's a hard job.
And videos everywhere, and replays everywhere, and social media is everywhere. So if you get it wrong, everybody's going to know.
We should point out, too, that Carl does a good deal of refereeing, so he knows of what he speaks.
I made a good call once.
Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. I'm Bill Pucko, Tariq Spence, Carl Falk. Time for Unfinished Business. Carl, start us off.
College basketball got underway this week, and it's the last dance for Coach K. And we're going to hear all sorts of soliloquies about what a great dude Coach K is and how he's been great for college basketball, all-time wins leader, 1 million national championships. And you're going to think back to the guys who stayed for 4 years and how they impacted the game. Hurley, Leitner, they were great players back then. But don't forget, Coach K, who somehow recruited Zion Williamson, didn't pay him a dime. He was the only school not to offer Zion money, but Zion went to Duke. Has had as many one-and-dones as anyone in the country except Kentucky. You never hear Coach K criticized for that, but he has bought in. Whether it be good or bad, he's won. It's not the same Coach K that used to be roaming the sidelines.
We're almost halfway through the NFL season, and there's 3 teams that get my adversity award. The number 1 team, well, number 3, I'll go backwards, will be the Saints. I don't understand how you go from a team that had a Hall of Fame quarterback and then go to Jameis Winston, then lose Jameis Winston, and you guys are still 5-3 on the year. Oh, by the way, you don't have your top receiver. So I give them the number 3 pick. Number 2, I have to give it to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't understand how they're doing this. Ben Roethlisberger is an aging quarterback, a defense that had J.J. Watt and just nobody else, and an offense that had a running back that's his rookie in the year. Yet they're 5-3. And the number 1 team to overcome adversity, the Las Vegas Raiders. You lose your head coach, you lose one of your wide receivers in a tragic DWI accident, and you have another player who just threatened people on social media. He's gone from the team. I don't know what's going on, but the Raiders have been able to find a way to win 5 out of their last 8 games. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do it. And these teams might not even make the playoffs, but they've overcome so much adversity on and off the field. They need to be applauded for that.
This is National Veterans Awareness Week. Veterans Day last Thursday commemorated the official end of World War I, the 11th hour, 11th day, the 11th month in 1918. The war to end all wars, it was called. How'd that work out? So there are 31 names on the Buffalo Bills Wall of Fame. Football heroes from Gilchrist to Kelly, Sestak to Smith. And then there's this number 61. Not so much of a household name. Kalsu. Bob Kalsu. He was an All-American offensive lineman at Oklahoma and an 8th-round draft pick of the Buffalo Bills back in 1968. He worked his way into the starting lineup at right guard that season and was named the Bills Rookie of the Year. Kalsu had a bright future. He was also ROTC at Oklahoma, the Reserve Officer Training Corps. With it was attached an obligation to serve in the military. And while there were other options available to him, Kalsu chose to enlist in the Army. Prior to the start of the 1969 football season, he was ordered to Vietnam. A gregarious teammate, a born leader, dedicated family man with a new wife, 20-month-old daughter, and a baby son on the way, with a deep sense of duty. Only 8 active professional athletes served in Vietnam. Only one of them died there. July 21st, 1970, defending a hill in Tua Tien province in the middle of South Vietnam, Lieutenant James Robert Kalsu was killed in the line of duty. He was 25. His wife, Jan, received word in the hospital where she had just delivered Bob's son. This is National Veterans Awareness Week. That name on the wall in Orchard Park right beside Joe DeLamalure. Kalsu. Bob Kalsu. In case you didn't, now you know. That is Unfinished Business, and that is our show. Guys are like, between like Memorial Day and Veterans Day, I think it's important. We retell Kalsu and Don Hollader, who is a very similar story. Of course,
I think it's very well done.
Rochester
Extremely
icon.
well done.
Yeah, I think so. Very well done.
Oh, cool. Tariq, thank you very much. Carl,
Thank you.
good
Thanks
to
for
finally do
having
a
me.
show
Yeah,
with you, man.
absolutely. Sorry I didn't wear a stupid jersey, but
Stupid jersey.
Maybe next
that
week.
will get back to him.
Yeah,
I
I was
bet.
supposed to get back to him.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week on the Rochester Press Box.